afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 Real Estate Architecture and Engineering Awards program. I'm Ali Jabour, Associate Publisher at Long Island Business News. It's my sincere pleasure to welcome you to this annual program, which highlights the region's top performers, projects, and deals in the real estate, development, architecture, and engineering communities. Across the board, 2020 was quite a year, but on Long Island, these industries persisted, closing monumental transactions, breaking ground on exciting developments, and cutting ribbons on high-profile projects that continue to shape the way we work and live. Today's program celebrates all of those notable wins and the movers and shakers that made them happen. We'll also take a moment to remember three beloved industry icons who were lost in 2020 and hear a few words from their colleagues on their lasting legacy. Thank you for joining us today to celebrate them all. I am also pleased to be joined today by a fellow member of the Long Island Business News family, veteran real estate reporter Dave Winzelberg. Dave's breaking news headlines and in-depth coverage for years has helped make real estate one of the most popular categories in our publication.
Thanks, Ali. It's very nice to be here today.
And it's so great to have you, Dave. Now, before we kick off today's program, Dave, I'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsors who helped make this program possible. Our major sponsor, Forcelli Deegan Tirana. Award sponsor, Nelson and Pope. Contributing sponsors, Engel Berman Group, E.W. Howell, Grassi Advisors and Accountants, G2D Group, Hayduck Engineering, Heartland Town Square, and Lincoln Equities, and nonprofit sponsor, Adelphi University. And a special thank you to LGC Studios. Thanks to all of our sponsors for your tremendous support. This year's program is being attended by professionals from across Long Island. And while we may be celebrating at a distance, there's plenty of ways we can come together to celebrate. Try using the live chat box to the right of your screen to say hello to the crowd and interact with today's winners. We want to hear from you. We'll also be hearing from two industry leaders who joined LIBN to share their thoughts on the last year and what they think may lie ahead. Now, Dave, it's been quite a year. What have your thoughts been on the industry in 2020?
Well, Ali, just as most everything else was dominated by COVID last year, real estate was no exception. However, though the industry suffered somewhat, there were some bright spots. Despite a couple of months' pause, the residential sector thrived, making up for the lost sales of the spring throughout the second half amid record-setting high prices. Commercial real estate was a mixed bag in 2020. Industrial real estate flourished with the continuing demand for e-commerce distribution that was only accelerated when people were stuck in their homes. The multifamily sector also remained resilient last year, and though some landlords stressed temporary slowdowns in rent collections, occupancy levels stayed quite healthy. Meanwhile, hospitality and retail properties took big hits, and the office market grappled with a glut of sublease space as employees continued to work remotely and tenants began to rethink their office space needs. But with all the challenges that came our way in 2020, commercial brokers managed to put together some pretty big deals, and some great development projects moved forward, thanks to Long Island's talented developers, architects, engineers, and contractors. Many of those we're about to honor today.
Before we meet some of today's honorees, what do you think about hearing from our first keynote speaker?
I think that's a great idea. Our first keynote speaker is quite an influential player himself. He served as Vice President for Governmental Affairs for the Long Island Association for 14 years and previously served in government capacities where he focused on transportation legislation. He's a former board member of the MTA and is CEO of the Long Island Builders Institute, the largest home building trade association in New York State. Please welcome Mitch Pally.
It is indeed a pleasure to be part of the festivities today with regard to honoring a variety of Long Island real estate, architecture, and engineering companies who are making Long Island a better place to live, work, and play. The Long Island real estate market is clearly at a high point, especially when it comes to residential and mixed-use developments. And the honorees today are doing their part to overcome the various obstacles which are always placed in the way of development opportunities on Long Island. Whether it is community opposition or the amount of time it takes for our municipalities to review the multitude of approvals needed to get into the ground, or the continued negative impacts of new legislation from Albany, the honorees today fully understand that the benefits of building on Long Island far outweigh the barriers placed in our way. Working together, the real estate industry, through our many trade associations, of which I have the privilege of leading one of them, have continually come together to enable our architecture companies to design the project, to our engineering companies to engineer the project, to our law firms to get through the legal barriers, to our IDAs to assist with the financing of the projects, and to our developers to build the projects. Taken together, the companies honored today, along with the thousands of construction companies which actually do the work, have made Long Island one of the great places in our country. Having said that, we all understand that Long Island is changing, and our real estate development must change with it, now and in the years ahead. More and more of our communities are finally beginning to follow the lead of Patchogue and Mineola and Farmingdale and Westbury to understand that multifamily and mixed-use development near our train stations is exactly the type of development which many of our residents are now willing to support. Second, our next great opportunity is the redevelopment of our existing underperforming neighborhood and regional shopping centers to allow for the inclusion of both residential and mixed-use developments. Providing new opportunities for these already existing facilities, which allow for our communities to eliminate vacant properties, which are an eyesore for our communities, will protect their existing real property tax revenues, and will promote new developments without the need to cut down trees or to build a new roadway, or even in some cases, build new sewage treatment plants or sewer systems. It is a win-win for all Long Islanders, and I am sure that many, if not all of our honorees today, are now engaged in some type of redevelopment project across Long Island. Once again, I want to personally congratulate all of today's honorees for their experience, their awareness of the needs of our residents, and for their commitment, both financially and time, to continue to work together to make Long Island a better place. I know that the time is now and the commitment is now for all of us. Thank you very much for letting me have the opportunity, and congratulations again to all of our honorees.
Thanks again to Mitch Pally for a great segue into today's program.
Yes, thank you for joining us. We'll be hearing from another industry leader later in the program as well, so be sure to stay tuned. Now, Dave, would you do us the honor of introducing today's first group of honorees?
Sure, Allie. And I think the best place to start is with our Lifetime Achievement Award honorees. Let's meet two of them now.
A leading entrepreneur, philanthropist, and proud Long Islander, Bert E. Brodsky has devoted the last 5 decades to innovating industries, including real estate, hospitality, healthcare, and technology. As founder and chairman of BEB Capital, Brodsky helps provide creative direction for the business to execute on its core strategies. His leadership helped BEB Capital thrive first as an entrepreneurial healthcare company, and today, as a strategic, value-added real estate investment firm with a portfolio that includes more than 2 million square feet of property on the East Coast. Under his leadership, BEB Capital continues to expand its offerings, including a 2020 launch into standalone lending.
I picked 2 industries to go into. One, real estate, one, technology and healthcare. Both had very, very large industries. My corporate finance professor inspired me to be an entrepreneur and to go into industries that were very large and thought I could be a success in those industries. Go to an industry that you love, because going to work where you love to go to work is not work at all.
Congratulations, Bert E. Brodsky.
Dennis Kelleher of H2M Architects and Engineers is a lifetime Long Islander and longtime H2M employee who has spent more than 4 decades at the Melville-based firm. He started his career in H2M's wastewater division, helping perform studies and analysis for municipalities for new sewage treatment plans. Today, he is a recognized national expert in the field of water resources and has been an active member of the American Water Works Association since 1986. Kelleher has an unparalleled record of service to his community, both as a leader in business and engineering on Long Island.
I graduated college back in 1978 with a degree in civil engineering. 1978 was the job market was very weak, and you take whatever job you could get at that time. I was very fortunate to get an offer from a national environmental consulting engineering firm in Manhattan. So I took the Long Island Railroad from Northport every day. It was a 2-hour ride in the morning and a 2-hour ride back in the afternoon. I quickly realized that this 4-hour commute was not what I wanted to do the rest of my life. So I was fortunate enough to find another job here on Long Island, very similar. And here it is 43 years later, and I'm still with H2M. My greatest professional accomplishment is probably the role I play in educating Long Islanders about drinking water. About 35 years ago, one of the senior partners at H2M, Norman Morell, suggested that I get more involved in trade organizations, and he recommended the Long Island Water Conference. The next thing I know, I was the chairman of the public relations committee for that organization, and here it is 35 years later, and I'm still in that position.
Congratulations to Dennis Kelleher.
Congratulations, Bert Brodsky of BEB Capital and Dennis Kelleher of H2M Architects and Engineers. As Ali mentioned before, 2020 brought with it the loss of 3 truly incredible industry icons. LIBN is proud to commemorate them today by granting each of them a posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award. Today's program is dedicated to these gentlemen, whose impact will be felt for generations to come.
Born in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn to Swedish immigrants, Robert Gustav Nelson in 1943 enlisted in the Army. He first served with the 220 Armored Engineers Brigade and later re-enlisted as a resident engineer to construct a military facility in Alaska. He returned home and in 1954 founded Rizzo, Nelson and Associates in Plainview. The firm relocated to Melville and in 1970 became known as Nelson and Pope. Over the years, Nelson and his firm provided expert services to many notable Long Island developers, including the Holiday Organization, Evergreen Homes, and Levitt & Sons. Nelson's company has since worked on many of the area's subdivisions, such as Leisure Village, several shopping centers, and standalone retail and restaurant buildings. Bob Nelson died in October 2020 at the age of 96, following an admirable life and career.
My most lasting experience goes back to the 1960s when I was a young child, and he had taken me out on a Saturday to do survey work, and that was my first experience, and resulted in my continuing in the business. Later on in life, it was getting together with him and playing golf, which was his passion.
He had a interesting sense of humor, and sometimes it was a little ribald and risque in his sense of humor. But nonetheless, he's not offensive at all, but he liked a good joke every once in a while.
He had a passion for sports. Growing up, he played baseball, but then he continued with bowling and then got into golf. And it was a big part of his life. And then he tried to bring the family into that and incorporate the family into those things.
Jack O'Connor of Newmark Knight Frank was known as the Dean of Commercial Real Estate Brokers on Long Island, serving as Executive Managing Director and a Principal of Newmark Knight Frank's Long Island office in Melville. One of the area's most prolific real estate brokers, O'Connor was responsible for some of the largest land and building sales in the industrial sector. The former bank executive first became a commercial real estate broker with Island Realty, where he was a principal. He later joined Grubb & Ellis, then became a senior managing director of CBRE's Long Island office before joining Newmark Knight Frank. O'Connor died in September 2020 at the age of 78. Colleagues remember him as a man who set the standards for the industry.
Jack O'Connor was a larger-than-life character who was an expert at connecting with people and networking, and his ability to bring people from all walks of life together was really special.
I would say favorite memory of Jack is when we got together and worked on the SIBS board together about 30 years ago, and then worked through the executive ranks of SIBS. He was one position ahead of me, so we worked together for many years going through SIBS. And then obviously when he came to Newmark in 2004, our friendship continued to grow.
One thing about the Jack was that, there was no agenda. Everything was up front, and what was on his mind was on his tongue. And that was one thing that I admired about Jack, and I continue, to try to emulate.
I think what made Jack so special was his generosity. He was so generous with his time, helping all of us, mentoring us, as well as bringing us and creating deals and involving us. And so the involvement and partnership with Jack was what was one of his special traits.
Growing up poor in Brooklyn's Brownsville neighborhood, Gerald Jerry Walkoff began working at a men's clothing store while in grade school. By age 16, he had built one of the largest floor waxing companies in New York City. He later turned to real estate, buying vacant lots and building homes, and in a few years became one of the most prolific home builders in the outer boroughs. By the early 70s, Walkoff had moved on to industrial parks, building the Heartland Industrial Park in Hauppauge and Heartland Business Center in Edgewood. Last year, Walkoff was putting the finishing touches on a new industrial space at Heartland and a Long Island city development known as 5 Points. In recent years, he was perhaps best known as the driving force behind a $4 billion plan to create a new, mixed-use community in Brentwood called Heartland Town Square. Walkoff died in July 2020 at the age of 83.
I believe my father, Jerry Walkoff's lasting impact on the Long Island landscape is the amount of buildings and physical structures that he built. They are vast and tremendous amounts, but I think including that are the amount of people that he touched and got to know through those buildings. It didn't make a difference from what walk of life you came from, whether you're the most important politician to the laborer on a job site. Everybody deserves to be spoken to with respect and listened to with respect. And even though he didn't specifically ever say that in all the things that he would say, it was just the way he went about handling his business. It was to listen to everybody, to give everybody the time and the respect. And I think ultimately that's probably the most important thing that I learned. In closing, I just want to thank again the LIBN for allowing me to share some thoughts about my father, and I really appreciate it. It brings back a lot of good memories, which will always be within me. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
We at LIBN remember Robert Nelson, founder and chairman of Nelson & Pope, Jack O'Connor, executive managing director and principal at Newmark of Long Island, and developer Jerry Wolkoff of the Heartland Development for their tremendous impact on the Long Island community. You will all be missed. And now I'd like to pass the show back over to Allie to introduce more of today's honorees.
Thanks, Dave. And thanks again to all of our Lifetime Achievement honorees for your incredible dedication to our community. Now, who's ready to meet some top people, projects, and deals of 2020? Project and honoree winners were selected based on both nominations and internal research. In the end, the companies and individuals you'll meet today came out on top as some of the most influential of the year. To learn more about today's winners, be sure to head to LIBN.com tomorrow to view the digital edition or check out this week's print publication. Now, let's see who they are.
The IDA of the Year in Nassau County is the Nassau County IDA. The Nassau County Industrial Development Agency's team of professionals carry out a mission to promote and improve the economic welfare and prosperity of Nassau County. In 2020, the Nassau IDA closed 12 economic development projects. Along with the high-profile Superblock project in Long Beach was the lease of new office space to 1-800-Flowers, new film production stages in Port Washington, and a transit-oriented development project in Lynbrook. Businesses committed to create 3,065 jobs with a net gain of more than $25.6 million in tax revenue to the county.
The IDA of the Year in Suffolk County is the Brookhaven IDA. Despite a tumultuous year and economic fallout, the Brookhaven IDA continued to attract businesses and projects to help strengthen the town's economy. In fact, in 2020, the IDA surpassed its 2019 numbers as businesses committed to invest $281 million in projects that will result in the creation and retention of 4,600 jobs. The Brookhaven IDA closed 9 economic development projects, most of them on behalf of manufacturers and residential housing development. The projects will also help provide much-needed housing opportunities for Long Island's workforce. Major projects closed, including a solar rooftop project, senior living communities, luxury rental units, fuel cell installation, and manufacturing.
Top Architect of the Year Joe Yacobelis is a Senior Associate and Director of Design at Mojo Stumer Associates. Joining the firm in 2014, the architect swiftly rose from designer to senior designer to director of design at the tender age of 35. Today, he oversees and coordinates the work of multiple studios across the firm's residential and commercial portfolio. His work has been instrumental not only in the designing of award-winning mixed-use apartment buildings, but also in ushering these projects through the complex environment of local zoning approvals.
Top Engineer of the Year, Philip Shade, is a Senior Vice President and Director of the Energy Market at H2M Architects and Engineers. The Oyster Bay resident has 35 years of experience in the industry, 26 of which have been spent at H2M. The passionate problem solver deals in everything from oil and gas storage and distribution to renewable energy systems. Leveraging his prior experience as Discipline Director for the New York Environmental Group, Shade is also committed to growing H2M's presence in the market and works on the company's business plans, manages quality control, and facilitates the healthy growth and teamwork of this powerhouse firm.
Architecture rising star Justin Stetzer made the terrific leap from intern at Spectre Group in 2008 to employee by 2010, thanks to his positive attitude and willingness to dig deep to get work done. He's worked as lead project architect and planner on many challenging projects, such as WeWork and Dealertrek corporate headquarters. Today, he's a project manager working directly with clients to oversee seamless execution and implementation for projects like the Nassau County Police Department Center for Training and Intelligence and Markham's national rollout.
Engineering rising star Anthony Kim's unparalleled work ethic comes from watching his parents' dedication to their small business. A natural-born engineer, Kim landed at H2M in 2008 and since then has climbed the ladder from engineer to senior project manager, and recently, department manager for electrical engineering. Among his favorite projects is the Fire Island emergency generators, which pose challenges ranging from site constraints to compliance mandates. As a professional who thrives on challenge, he helped lead H2M to a successful project completion.
Engineering rising star Andrew Solano has been a valued member of MTech Consulting Engineers for over 10 years, where, as head of business development, he's helped the brand expand its footprint into New Jersey, Massachusetts, and Missouri. In the last year, Solano made the swift rise to partner and today enjoys mentoring junior engineers and managing the MTech staff. His commitment to creating an upbeat and dedicated work environment has helped bolster the firm's already strong reputation.
Commercial real estate rising star Dominic Coluccio serves as Chief Leasing and Development Officer at Salmonia, New York, owned by Lesso Mall Development. His primary responsibilities include rebuilding and revitalizing the iconic former Fortunov Mall at the Source, a Westbury retail property that recently underwent a $30 million renovation. Amid a global pandemic, Coluccio helped orchestrate the ambitious expansion and is proud to have drawn tenants that include Bloomingdale's Rug and Furniture Outlet and New York's very first 99 Ranch Grocery Market.
Commercial real estate rising star Sean Silverbrook is Vice President of the Lending Division at BEB Capital. With only 14 years in the industry, Silverbrook has already passed the $1 billion mark in real estate transactions. It's thanks to that success that he was trusted to serve as Vice President of the firm's new bridge lending platform. Among his proudest accomplishments of 2020 include closing a $3 million bridge loan in December in under 30 days. In 2021, his goal is to originate $100 million in bridge loans.
The top architecture firm of the year is H2M Architects and Engineers. Founded in 1933 in Bethpage as a civic engineering and land surveying practice, the firm today serves as one of the Long Island's most recognized full-service design firms. In 2020, H2M was relied upon heavily to guide clients through changing CDC guidelines to keep projects on track. The team at H2M was able to keep clients on schedule and within budget. The firm also was a vital player in designing an assisted living facility tailored specifically to mitigate the spread of COVID-19 among residents and family members.
The top engineering firm of the year is VHB. Driven by passionate professionals that include engineers, scientists, planners, and designers, VHB is among the Northeast's leading providers of integrated transportation, land development, and environmental services. With a hop-hog office that is home to over 60 employees, the firm offers collective knowledge, technical excellence, and a wide network of relationships to its clients. The company is also a dedicated member of the Long Island business community and, in June 2020, raised more than $50,000 for organizations committed to social equity.
The top small construction firm of the year goes to Aurora Contractors. Aurora is a Ronkonkoma-based, privately owned construction management, design and build, and general contracting firm. As a second-generation, family-owned and operated firm, Aurora relies on its nearly 40-year history to bring a warm family atmosphere to its workplace. The firm focuses on a variety of sectors, including last-mile distribution centers, multi-level industrial and commercial space, life science, retail, and more. The company is proud to bring exciting and innovative projects to the Long Island community.
The top large construction firm of the year goes to E.W. Howell. Founded in 1891, this Plainview-based construction company services clients that range from retail to education, government, healthcare, and even cultural organizations. In its infancy, E.W. Howell was a builder of fine homes and is credited with notable Gold Coast estates for the likes of the Guggenheim, Pratt, and Hutton families. Over time, it delved into commercial construction and is credited for notable projects such as the New York Botanical Gardens Conservatory Pam Dome restoration, residents at Plainview Seniors Housing, and Good Samaritan Hospital's Patient Care Pavilion.
The commercial brokerage of the year is Newmark of Long Island. Continuing its positive track record of 2019, Newmark's Long Island office returns again as top commercial brokerage. Major transactions included in the sale of an 80,000 square foot building at 225 Central Avenue South in Bethpage, which will serve as the MTA's new rail yard. It stands as one of the highest priced sales ever recorded for an industrial building on Long Island. Newmark's team also represented the tenant in a lease of over 45,000 square foot retail space at the former Source Mall, as well as a tenant in a lease of a 58,000 square foot space in Uniondale.
This year's top property management firm goes to Millbrook Properties Limited. The company's first acquisitions date back to the early 1930s, when founder Max Feenblum began with the purchase of a small multifamily dwelling in Brooklyn. By 1944, business was booming, and the company welcomed its second-generation family business owners. By the time the fourth generation joined the team in the early 90s, Millbrook owned and managed more than 40 properties. Today, the company has over 65 properties in the Northeast and Florida, and its trajectory is geared toward a more diverse portfolio, adding retail, office, and garden apartment housing to its urban multifamily foundation. Millbrook Properties continues to grow by adding a fifth generation while focusing on expanding its footprint for future generations. This year's top multifamily developer is the Beechwood Organization. With a track record for successful design, build, and sale of homes and communities, Beechwood is among Long Island's largest residential developers and New York State's largest developers of single and multifamily attached housing. The challenges of 2020 relied heavily on its visionary leadership to steer the firm to success, which included achieving new milestones with high-profile projects like rental apartments, retail space, and in the hospitality sector. Among those was the Vanderbilt Market, a grocery shopping and meal delivery service that helped keep restaurant staff from the Vanderbilt employed while helping service residents in 2020.
Congratulations to all our honorees so far. Now let's keep this energy going and see some of the top projects of the year.
The IDA Project of the Year in Nassau County is the Superblock in Long Beach by the City of Long Beach, Engel Berman Group, Farrell Fritz, Forcelli, Deegan, Tirana, LLP, and the Nassau IDA. The Nassau IDA approved about $50 million in economic incentives to assist Engel Berman Group in building 438 units of multifamily housing on the 6-acre waterfront parcel located in an area of Long Beach often referred to as the Superblock. The development will bring 238 rental apartments in a 10-story building, 200 condominium residences in 2 9-story buildings, and about 6,500 square feet of retail space to the Long Island vacant property. A 25-year payment in lieu of taxes agreement for the rental portion of the project will result in nearly $200 million in tax revenue over the life of the pilot. Daniel Deegan, partner at Forcelli, Deegan, Tirana, served as an attorney for Engel Berman on the project and was an integral player in presenting the project to the community. Peter Curry of Farrell Fritz served as financing counsel and economic development, an IDA co-counsel on the project.
The year's top affordable housing project is Liberty Station by Concern for Independent Living and H2M Architects and Engineers. Liberty Station is a 77-unit affordable housing community in Port Jefferson Station, developed by Concern for Independent Living. The nearly $28 million project features affordable apartments, with most of them designated for Long Island veterans. The Port Jefferson Station community is built on an 11-acre site. Rents range from $500 to $800 per month for the one-bedroom apartments and a little over $1,000 per month for the lone two-bedroom unit. Completed in January, the complex was fully rented in just 3 months. The building was designed by H2M architects and engineers.
The top assisted living project goes to All American Assisted Living by EGA PC, Hayduck Engineering, Kaplan Development Group, Racanelli Construction Co. Inc., Sir Tillman, Balin, Adler & Hyman, LLP. All American Assisted Living is a new 112-bed state-of-the-art facility located on Middle Country Road in Coram. The owner, Kaplan Development Group, is a Massachusetts-based developer that specializes in assisted living facilities throughout the Northeast. The site features a 2-story building with floor plans that are conducive to movement, areas that encourage community and socializing, a hospitality-like approach, and apartment-style rooms. EGA served as architect, Hayduck Engineering served as civil site and sanitary engineer, Racanelli Construction was the general contractor, and J. Timothy Shea Jr. of Sir Tillman, Balin, Adler & Hyman served as land use attorney.
The top commercial redevelopment of the year goes to Cornerstone at Yorkshire by Terwilliger & Bartone Properties and Forcelli Deegan Tarana LLP. Terwilliger & Bartone raced the notorious Capri Lynbrook Motel to construct an 80-unit rental building called the Cornerstone at Yorkshire. The redevelopment will bring studio apartments, 1-bedroom units, and 2-bedroom units to the site. Amenities will include a fitness center, club room, and courtyard. The project will also feature on-site parking for residents. It's expected to open this fall. Forcelli Deegan Tarana's Daniel Deegan, Judy Lynn Simonsic, Daniel Dornfeld, and William Benesso handled all of the IDA, zoning, and transactional work. Louis Fiore assisted with the IDA part of the deal, while James C. Rica assisted on the opinion letters to complete the transaction.
Top commercial construction project of the year is the Mount Sinai South Nassau Central Utility Plant in Oceanside by E.W. Howell. Inclusive to the renovations on the campus, the hospital is constructing a new 23,000 square foot central utility plant. The new 2-story plant will replace the existing one, which feeds the hospital campus, and will have ultra-high efficiency variable speed chillers, new cooling towers and steam boilers, variable speed pumping systems, fuel oil storage and transfer systems, AC units, electrical system upgrades, and more. The job is valued at $70.4 million and will be completed by July 2024.
The top downtown redevelopment goes to Village Square in Glen Cove by RXR Realty. RXR cut the ribbon on its Village Square mixed-use development in Glen Cove in October 2020. Village Square brings more than 145 rental apartments, an over 16,000 square foot public plaza, and more than 15,000 square feet of retail space. Amenities include outdoor grills, a terrace with fire pits, club room, library, children's playroom, fitness center, conference room, and on-site parking for residents. Monthly rents range between about $2,200 for studios to nearly $3,500 for 2 bedrooms. The mixed-use building also includes 10 retail spaces and a dermatologist's office.
The top education project of the year goes to the Syosset School District Fitness Center by H2M Architects and Engineers. H2M helped create a state-of-the-art facility to address the needs of the Syosset School District and local community. The intent of the facility was to provide a place not only for student athletes, but also for students of varying fitness levels. The revamped fitness center includes a large open weight room, locker rooms, athletic offices, bathrooms, and comfort stations. H2M was also able to tackle the complex task of designing on the existing site, tying in exterior finishes with the original building and subsequent additions.
The top education renovation in Nassau County goes to the Ruth S. Harley University Center by Adelphi University. The renovation of the 50-year-old structure was innovative, featuring sustainable designs while meeting the needs of the college and surrounding community during the historic period of global lockdown. The collaborative project added 22,000 square feet of space, but green concepts like solar-bound glass have helped the building achieve a near net zero increase in utility consumption. The design also pays attention to green space, recycling, and renewable energy, and features plentiful natural light thanks to efficient floor-to-ceiling windows. The center is poised to be a lasting model of green architecture and design for Garden City. The top education renovation in Suffolk County is the Sayville High School Library by Campbell Cassetta Architects. The firm completed the impressive renovation of Sayville's High School's 5,500 square foot library, which included a computer classroom, conference room, workroom, and outdoor courtyard. A new 25-foot skylight was added and the floor plan, which was enhanced to provide a more open, bright learning space. The firm was also able to accommodate a brand new HVAC system in Stride, coordinating new ductwork within existing spaces seamlessly. The top industrial project of the year goes to Gabrielli Truck Facility by H2M Architects and Engineers. This 78,000 square foot facility, located on the grounds of JFK Airport, is constructed of an engineered building frame for the service area and is conventionally framed at the office area, a configuration that allows for over 90 vehicles to be serviced at any given time. Constructed in approximately 14 months' time, H2M and the general contractor had significant hurdles to navigate due to restrictions related to airport proximity. H2M overcame these obstacles to debut a building that will be recognizable for years to come.
This year's top industrial renovation is Gold Coast Studios in Bethpage by Art of Form Architects and Forcelli Deegan Tirana LLP. Over 110,000 square feet of former Northrop Grumman defense contracting facilities had to be reimagined into the 6 current studios that now exist, where shows like America's Got Talent and John Wick have been produced. The primary challenge of Art of Form Architects' design team was to maintain as much of the shell structure as possible, while updating the building as a whole to serve its new purpose. Modern code and zoning requirements imposed further parameters that were observed as design for the facility evolved. Gold Coast Studios is now one of the premier film studio destinations on the East Coast. Judy L. Simoncic, a partner at Forcelli Deegan Tirana, represented Gold Coast Studios on the zoning application before the Town Board of Oyster Bay. The top infrastructure project of the year is South Shore University Hospital Parking Garage by VHB. Northwell Health developed a new 1,000-car garage at South Shore University Hospital as part of its ongoing investment to improve the hospital's infrastructure while expanding its capabilities. The 5-story structure required a VHB-designed drainage system to address the high groundwater, extensive permitting processes, and a new traffic signal to accommodate hospital parking. The structure is also expected to help free up parking for residents and visitors in downtown Bayshore.
Congratulations to our top projects. We'll see some more projects soon. But Dave, I think it's time we hear from our second keynote speaker.
You're absolutely right, Allie. And this guy's no stranger to Long Island real estate and development. With nearly 2 decades of experience in housing, transportation, and community development, this smart growth geared expert is director of Vision Long Island. His goal is to bring proactive land use planning that complements the community. Please welcome Eric Alexander.
Greetings to the Long Island Business News Real Estate Awards. We're sorry we're not in person. Normally it's a great event each year. Really value the connections that we make on all the projects that folks are advancing across Long Island. Obviously, shout out to Dave Winselberg and the whole team at Long Island Business News who do a fantastic job. Wanted to make a couple comments this year. Look, we've been through a lot this year together. All our communities we've been working in, Government regulation's been tough on small businesses. That many folks have lost staff through this process. The public has been through some changing conditions and also some health loss, in folks' lives. Schools have been upended. And even some folks were trying to take away local land use. A lot of changes. The good news is folks are building back. Businesses are reopening. And this is really where you guys come in. There's not one canceled project tied to transit-oriented development or downtown revitalization. The market is strong for multifamily. We see that there are now subsidies on the federal and state level for redevelopment downtown. Our communities are accepting downtown development more than ever. 111 of 124 projects have had more community support than opposition. And we've seen that consistently over the last 7 years. And there's even support on the local government level for downtown redevelopment. So these are all good signs. We can't, though, revert back to the old playbook of how things get done. We actually need to continue to build trust in our community. You know why I say old playbook? You guys know what I mean. You focus on greed, you focus on power, you focus on demonizing local communities and local governments. There's no place for that anymore. And you guys know that. There's 40 downtown developers. They actually build downtown and do transit-oriented development. Many of them, a dozen of them, are represented in the honorees tonight. And I love reading Long Island Business News and seeing so many projects that we care about being honored this evening. So I'll just end with a few comments on the types of things we know work in local communities. One, work with the community itself. We hope you continue to do that. You know that works. Two, work with your local municipality. And whether they be town council people, supervisors, staff, village mayors, most of them want to see projects advance. Work with your local business. They're the best advocates for downtown and transit-oriented development and multifamily development. Again, stay focused with your message hyper-locally, because nobody really supports regionalism, particularly in local neighborhoods. Local neighborhoods don't want to solve the problems of the region. They want to see their quality of life improve. And you guys are part of that. Hire consultants that actually are friendly working with the community. Sometimes they aren't, and they're your voices. So get the right folks in there. And lastly, practice giving back in the form of local philanthropy. That's so important right now, that people know that the real estate industry cares about food pantries, about mentoring programs, all sorts of things, community cleanups, other things. See that philanthropic touch. I know you guys do it, but speak about it more, do it more, show it more. And we really have a tremendous opportunity to bring back our local neighborhoods. It's happening. The energy is palpable now. We're seeing people outside walking, biking, and again, the buildings that are built through the real estate awards and in our downtowns, and we have our Smart Growth Awards coming up also with a whole slew of many honorees that are doing fantastic projects. Together, we have an opportunity to make Long Island better than it was before, but also to build up trust with our neighbors and friends and our community members, and really create a lasting legacy for what we're trying to do on Long Island. I know you guys do this. I know you can do it. We're going to work together. We're going to get it done. I'm excited about the spring and summer, and next time, hopefully, we'll see you in person.
Thanks to Eric Alexander for joining today's program.
By the way, don't forget to check out Vision Long Island's Smart Growth Awards, June 11th at noon. Now let's return to our debut of this year's top projects.
The top mixed-use project of the year is Gateway Plaza by G2D Development. G2D Development opened its Gateway Plaza mixed-use building in Huntington Station at the end of the year, and it's already about 95% occupied. The $25 million redevelopment is a key project in the ongoing revitalization of Huntington Station's downtown. It has 64 rental apartments above about 14,000 square feet of commercial space. Gateway Plaza is among the only apartment buildings in Suffolk County with a doorman. The complex has a mix of 8 studios and one-bedroom units, with monthly rents that range from $1,800 to $3,200.
In 2020, there were 2 top multifamily projects. The first being The Well in Lindenhurst by Tritech and VHB. This influential downtown project by Long Island developer Tritech reimagines a former industrial property into a multifamily residential development directly across from the Lindenhurst train station, contributing to the overall revitalization efforts of the downtown. The development posed the opportunity to craft numerous innovative designs, including adding upgraded stream bank plantings and buffer areas by VHB. The 260 residential units, located in a 4-story building with structured parking and amenities, have rents starting at $2,100. The first tenants are anticipated to move in June 30th.
The second multifamily project of the year goes to Village by the Bay in Amityville by Park East Construction and Forcelli Deegan Tirana LLP. Park East Construction's ability to meet and conquer novel challenges head-on is evidenced by its ability to complete the construction of this project ahead of schedule and amid a global pandemic. The project required site clearing and ground-up build of a 3-sided 3-story building with inside and outside amenities. The project was completed in 11 months, half of which was during the coronavirus pandemic. Ahead of schedule delivery provided early occupancy and cash flow to the owner. Forcelli Deegan Tirana's Jeffrey D. Forcelli, Daniel Deegan, Anthony DeCapua, Louis Fiore, Jessica Leese, and Eric Snipus provided legal support to help make the project possible.
The top multifamily redevelopment of the year is Laurel Homes by Georgica Green Ventures, the North Hempstead Housing Authority, and Forcelli Deegan Tirana. Georgica Green Ventures began a 3-phase, $44 million project for the North Hempstead Housing Authority at the 8-building Laurel Homes rental complex in Roslyn. The project brings all new buildings, upgraded infrastructure, 8 new apartments for seniors, a new community building, and 22 new parking spaces to the development, which is located between Laurel Street and the back of the commercial strip along Roslyn Road. Forcelli Deegan Tirana's Kathleen Deegan Dixon worked with Georgica Green and the North Hempstead Housing Authority to obtain variances and site plan approvals, and Jessica Leese assisted with applications.
The top office renovation of the year goes to the Family and Children's Association office renovation by Eastman Cook Associates. While working closely with TPG Architects and Lizardos Engineering, Eastman Cook's outstanding team transformed a 25,000 square foot space into a modern, contemporary space complete with office glass storefronts, an open interior floor plan, new pantries, and an upgrade of the building's plumbing and mechanical systems and existing rooftop units. Collaboration with the design team allowed for creative concepts and exceptional outcomes for this striking office.
This year's top smart growth projects goes to 16 Maple in Great Neck Plaza by Mojo Stumer Architects, McLaughlin & Stern, Spiegel Associates, and VHB. Owner and developer Spiegel Associates will debut a 30-unit mixed-use multifamily building at the entrance to a historic village. Designed to be a unique feature of modern form and detailing, while still adhering to the standards of proportion and scale of its immediate context. With Mojo Stumer serving as architect, designer, and planner, the building's features maximize sidewalk area and retail exposure, while still offering necessary depth for unit floor plans above. The result was an innovative design that offers a simple yet sleek look. VHB offered civil and environmental consulting, while McLaughlin & Stern offered legal services.
This year's top 55-plus multifamily project is Sutton Landing Apartments by Enkel Berman Group. The Engel-Berman Group completed 3 multifamily rental communities for renters age 55 and over in 2020. The Sutton Landing in Uniondale has 194 apartments. The Sutton Landing in Mount Sinai has 225 apartments, and the Deer Park Sutton Landing has 200 rental residences. Each of the communities features a clubhouse with a fitness center and sports bar, outdoor heated pool, and on-site parking. Rents start at $2,350 for a 1-bedroom in Uniondale and vary by community.
The top historic renovation is the Nathaniel Rogers House by Lipsky Construction. This historic home was built as a farmhouse in 1824. In 1840, it was transformed by renowned artist Nathaniel Rogers into one of the finest examples of Greek Revival architecture in New York State. The 5-year restoration project started in utter disarray, with some proportions of the home being structurally unstable. Systematically, the building was upgraded with a new roof, insulation, siding, mechanical and fire suppressant systems, all of which made the restoration of the existing finishes possible and safe to maintain. Lipsky was also able to restore a large portion of existing finishes to maintain the historical presence, including the light fixtures and door hardware.
Congratulations to all of those who made this past year's top projects possible. Now let's finish strong with a review of the top real estate transactions of 2020.
The most creative commercial deal goes to 60 Davids Drive in Hauppauge by Shaker Realty. The Garden City-based pasta manufacturer, Severoli Foods, expanded into 98,000 square feet of rented space at 60 Davids Drive in Hauppauge. The space will be used for manufacturing, distribution, and administrative operations. Shaker Realty's Phil Schwam represented seller BCV Realty in the transaction.
The year's top communications center sale is the Hauppauge Communications Center by CBRE and Cushman & Wakefield. Viacom CBS purchased the Hauppauge Communications Center, formerly owned by HBO, for $24.5 million. The site is home to 2 buildings, a facility built in 1983 that supported satellite delivery of the HBO service to its affiliates, and a building constructed in 2011 to support terrestrial fiber delivery of its on-demand and direct-to-consumer services. HBO's owner, AT&T, closed the Hauppauge operations as part of its effort to reorganize its media operations in the wake of the $85 billion takeover of Time Warner, now called Warner Media. Kyle Burkhart, Josh Cohen, and David Rosenblum of Cushman & Wakefield represented the buyer, while David Halpern and Greg Middleton of CBRE represented the seller.
This year's top industrial lease is 80 Wilshire Boulevard in Edgewood by Premier Commercial Real Estate. Queens-based PharmaPax leased the industrial building in the Heartland Business Center, which will serve as its primary warehousing and distribution facility. PharmaPax, which has 2 other Long Island locations, received tax breaks from the town of Islip IDA to assist in the $13 million build-out and outfitting of its new Edgewood space. The company boasts over 700 employees and expects to hire more than 100 more for its new facility. Jason Miller and Jeffrey Schwartzberg of Premier Commercial Real Estate represented PharmaPax in the deal.
The top industrial sale of the year is $74.5 million for a warehouse and distribution center at 344 Duffy Avenue in Hicksville. The newly constructed warehouse and distribution complex was sold to a subsidiary of the Travelers Companies. The selling price equates to $380 per square foot, representing a high watermark for industrial properties on Long Island. Developed by Lincoln Equities and completed late last year, the property is now leased to Home Depot. Jose Cruz, Mark Duval, Jordan Avanzado, Tyler Peck, Rob Koser, Leslie Lane, and Tom DiMichele of JLL brokered the Hicksville deal.
The top multifamily sale of the year in Suffolk County is the $84 million sale of Somerset Village Apartments to Fairfield Properties. Long Island's largest owner of rental apartments added to its growing multifamily portfolio with the purchase of Somerset Village for $84 million. The Tudor-style complex was built in the 1970s. Mark Walsh of Select Real Equity Advisors represented the buyer, while his Select Real Equity Advisors colleague, Peter Wolf, represented seller Somerset Woods Associates in the North Babylon sales transaction.
The top office lease of the year was a lease at 2 Jericho Plaza for 1-800-Flowers.com. After a 5-year search, 1-800-Flowers.com found its new home in Jericho, leasing nearly 97,000 square feet of office space. The Nassau County IDA approved economic incentives for 1-800-Flowers.com to assist in its move. And the estimated $10 million project to redesign and equip its new Jericho space. Ted Strategos of Avis & Young, who led the search for the new space, represented 1-800-Flowers, while Paul Amoruso and Michael Sciatta of Oxford & Simpson represented landlord Onyx Equities in the lease negotiations.
The top office sale of 2020 is 1979 Marcus Avenue in Lake Success. The Birch Group purchased the nearly 349,000 square foot office complex on over 8 acres for $62 million in the deal that closed at the end of November 2020. The selling price equates to nearly $178 per square foot. Built in 1988, the complex has an occupancy rate of about 95% and is home to more than 30 companies. The tenant roster includes Northwell Health, Freedom Care, and Liberty Maritime. Lincoln Equities Group had owned the property for 13 years. David Bernhardt, Andrew Merrin, Adam Spies, and Joshua King of Cushman & Wakefield represented the seller and procured the buyer in the sales transaction.
And thanks to everyone who tuned in today for this very special online event. I'd like to take a moment to thank today's sponsors who helped make this program possible. Our major sponsor, Forcelli Deegan Tirana. Award sponsor, Nelson and Pope. Contributing sponsors, Engel Berman Group, E.W. Howell, Grassi Advisors and Accountants, G2D Group, Hayduck Engineering, Heartland Town Square, and Lincoln Equities, and nonprofit sponsor Adelphi University. And a special thank you to LGC Studios.
Here's to hoping next year's program will be even bigger, better, and most importantly, in person in 2022.
That's right, Dave. And I think with just a little bit of luck, we'll be there soon enough. Don't forget to join LIBN next Thursday, June 10th at 4 p.m. for the Corporate Citizenship Awards. Until then, my friends, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you soon.